An error occurred, baby. Go live. All right. Looks like we are live now. Hey, everyone. Welcome to our monthly Connect and Serve broadcast. We're here to come together, celebrate community, connection, and purpose. I'm Steve, and I'm so glad you're with us here tonight. Your presence, support, and advocacy truly makes a difference in this mission that we all share. Let us know who you are in the comments section, where you're from, and you never know who's going to be in your area and ready to serve. There's a ton of people on the call, and of course, there's people all over the country here ready and willing to serve you. Tonight's broadcast is going to be super fun. We'll have some updates and stories from a truly remarkable speaker. We're going to talk about some exciting upcoming events, highlights, and how small actions lead to huge changes. And we'll give you the inside scoop on the latest at Hives for Heroes. We've got some awesome giveaways too at the 45-minute mark. We'll give away two $100 gift cards again. Every month we do that. Two $100 gift cards for beekeeping gear to the store of your choice. All you have to do is type in Go Army this week in the comments later this session. So stay tuned for your chance to win. So first, as usual, a message from our board. It's the Army's birthday is on June 14th. It's time to honor and recognize the incredible sacrifices made by our oldest service, both past and present. At Hives for Heroes, we proudly celebrate the duty, honor, and country ethos of our heroes who continue to serve their communities throughout the country in this incredible beekeeping lifestyle. It's a chance for us all to reflect on our own military service, both in commitment to each other, to our nation, and their continued efforts in conservation and community building. Thank you to every hero who continues to make the world a better place. Happy birthday, Army. And now a message from one of our fellows, a great friend and an old 82nd Airborne Bubba. Hives for Heroes is proud to honor the United States Army's 250th anniversary with a special celebration this June. To commemorate this historic milestone, we're offering 20% off all products throughout the month with the discount code MIL250, MIL250. As a veteran-led organization dedicated to supporting our military community through beekeeping and mentorship, we are thrilled to give back to those who have served and continue to protect our nation. Shop now and join us in celebrating 250 years of Army pride, resilience, and service. And thank you to our board for your continued efforts. Leading behind the scenes, your energy and power of connection is something we can truly never fully return. Thank you all. Also, a big shout out to all our heroes out there. Your commitment to service, connection, and community is what makes this movement unstoppable. Make no mistake, you are different. We are different. And that's a huge reason why this sport continues to learn, grow, and lead throughout the country. Don't forget to like, comment, and share on all the social media channels. We have LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Check out all the stories. You might even see yourself on these one day. So keep being involved and keep showing up. Through social media, you never know who you will impact. And of course, a huge thank you to our headquarters, state leaders, all of our mentors, and everyone who continues to support this mission. Your continued efforts are making a life-changing difference across the country. And of course, we can't forget our sponsors. Thank you for believing in our mission and helping us make a difference in the world around us. Your commitment to and trust in Hives for Heroes will never be taken for granted. We aim not only to continue our service, but increase scholarships, services, and opportunities for our nation's heroes. We've got some exciting events coming on, so mark your calendar in these. Listen up, write them down, whatever you need to do. They're amazing opportunities to learn, connect, and serve. First up, we are thrilled to announce our bottling event July 5th in Houston, Texas, from 10 to 2 at the American Legion. It's going to be a day filled with fun, food, and community spirit. Plus, there will be special guests join us, so you don't want to miss out. If you're in the Houston area or plan to come and visit, this event's a fantastic opportunity to get hands-on with our bottling process, meet the beekeepers in the area, and share some much-needed laughs, I'm sure. We'll have food, music, and a few surprises lined up, making it a day to remember. It's right after July 4th. It will be a celebration. Plus, you'll get to see the behind the scenes of our honey production process. Also, mark your calendars for EAS, Eastern Apicultural Society, July 27th through August 1st in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. We'll have Hives for Heroes representatives there. Come talk, have a great time. Also, the American Honey Producers Conference is in December in 2025, so this December in Tampa Bay, Florida. If you're around those areas, again, come and have a good time with us. Also, the North American Honeybee Expo in January 2026. Yes, it's a long way out, but we are planning for that as we speak. It will be in Louisville, Kentucky, another one you don't want to miss. And the American Beekeeping Federation Conference in January 2026 on the same weekend. So you kind of have to make a choice or make a really long drive. But that's going to be in Mobile, Alabama. You'll have Hives for Heroes representatives at every single one of these events. We are here to serve you, so please come say hi. Shoot the shit a little bit. These are incredible chances to gather, share knowledge, and strengthen our beekeeping community. In many cases, we will have get-togethers, as we usually do as a group, for maybe a dinner or social hours. And remember, at Hives for Heroes, the emphasis is always on connection. Sharing stories, getting to know the person behind the suit. And these events have become popular. We are excited to continue to grow in spaces where all people and all organizations are welcome. And now it is my true pleasure to introduce our special guest tonight, Stan, the man, Gore. Stan and I have met, many years ago at this point. I actually met his wife first at church in the bookstore. And through one of my other friends, Brett, who's also on our board. Stan sits on our board as a board of advisors at Hives for Heroes. He's also the founder of Texas Friendly Beekeepers, which has over 12,000 members on the Facebook group page. There is tons of knowledge, tons of conversation that goes on there. And I know that tonight he's going to share some pretty good stories about his background, but also his lessons learned and the journey of talking with people and then sharing knowledge and really a lot of experimental practices at some points. And of course, you can always check him out at Texas Friendly Beekeepers. But welcome, Stan, my man, Gore. How you doing, sir?
Hey, buddy. Good to see you.
You as well.
Thanks for getting me out. I'm mowing my around my hives today. Oh my gosh.
You know, it's only 95 to 100 degrees out there in Texas, so I'm sure. I'm so sorry for getting you off that mower, brother.
I know it. You know, I'm turning it more into a sissy. I thought I used to be pretty tough, but I'm getting wimpy, man. I tell you.
Well, you know, it's tough to kind of run 100 hives on a daily basis and do all the things that you do. I feel like everybody on this channel that's seen it and has seen Texas Friendly Beekeepers sees how responsive you are. And in some cases, I'm like, how the heck does he really respond to all these messages on such a consistent basis?
That's what Bev always asked me too. That's because I carry this thing with me.
I'll tell you what, it dings or it vibrates, and you got an answer. And you know, what I love about your answers, and I think a lot of the beekeeping community is sharing in this, is you're not telling people what to do. You're just kind of sharing your experiences of what has worked and what hasn't. And in those, I'd like to ask you, how did you start beekeeping, and how did your journey begin in this wonderful enterprise?
Well, you know, my granddad was a beekeeper. He started keeping bees in 1925. I wasn't there, but I remember the 60s and all, and basically I was a honey toter, and I just liked bees, you know, but I never really got into bees. I had a friend of mine. I lived in Montana for 20 years and Alaska for 10 years, and I had a friend up there that he kept bees, but I was basically a honey toter. I never really got into deep study until, you know, like a dozen years ago, but I've been kind of intense. You know, I probably only have that much experience, but I'm really into it because I know that you have to listen to other people, and I like to follow success. I know you do too, and it's just like you learn so much. All the stuff that you've done in the past 8-10 years or whatever, you go back and you see all these things that you've done and you go, what was I thinking? Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
but you know what's bad about mine is that they're all on YouTube and it's all on video, and I'm hoping no one searches history, because the things I say don't do anymore that I don't do, you know, they're going to say, well, you did it back then. I say, yeah, but I was dumb. But you know, you're trying stuff out.
This whole thing is really a lot of lifelong learning. I mean, learning from each other, learning from books, learning from education, learning from YouTube now. That wasn't always prevalent. The master beekeeping programs, which we provide scholarships for, which is incredible. But you've done a lot of practical application, right? You're heavy in practical application. Is that kind of how did Texas Friendly Beekeepers start? Because it's a very practical organization.
Yeah, I used to get on beekeeping techniques and all those. They got like 100,000 people, but I just got sick and tired of people being mean. You get a new beekeeper on there, and man, they crucify you. That you what are you doing that for? That's stupid. What in the world are you thinking? I'm going, there's got to be better something how about something positive, So just had the idea, and a couple of friends said, hey, you ought to do that. And I came up with that name because that's supposedly what it is. But here's the thing, we got almost 13,000 people, and it was like a couple of hundred. But then we did the whole kindness thing, and that people really like that, and also like to be heard. And if they want to post about their hives and they do it this way, that's fine. But I don't allow them to tell you this is the only way to do it, because you know what? There's so many ways. There's so many ways to keep bees. So just share what you do, and I think people learn from that, and learn from mistake. We call it the goober thing,
Oh yeah, that's right.
Goober.
Yeah, share that goober award. What's the goober award?
Yeah, and we don't have master beekeepers per se, and nothing against them. I mean, I like that they go to school and learn about bees, but the goobers. The master goober is the one you want to follow, because they have made so many mistakes. They've killed so many queens, and they've lost so many hives. But hopefully that's getting, narrower and narrower. And it is, but there's friends on there. I mean, there's friends on there that I go to them and they go to me. And, it's really cool to see how other people do things, and just try. We say try it all, and if it works for you, do it. And don't let me tell you it won't, because that's none of my business. So that's kind of what we go. And I know there's almost 13,000, and I never look at the numbers too much, because it really doesn't matter to me. But I know I have, with that 13,000, I know there's 13,000 that don't like me.
Well, I will say, when people are not friendly on Texas Friendly Beekeepers, they might be removed.
They'll start cussing, or they'll start calling someone an idiot. And say, hey man, and I tell them, don't do that. And they think, who are you? Well, it's my page, so I have a little bit of pull here, but they say, well, that's not very friendly. I said, all right, bye-bye. And that's why, did you hear about I don't know if I told you the one about the guy, he's probably on here, I don't know, but he got booted off, man. He was just rude, obnoxious, and just like, it's a bad flavor. Get him out of here. So he was telling someone else on another beekeeping page, I got gored.
Gore.
And so that's the thing now. Someone sent me this thing with a bull, and it's got, don't get gored. And even Mike Berry says it now. Don't get.
That's pretty funny. But you do give. I'll tell you, there's a lot of credit to be had, and I'd like to share a little bit, and of course you can share more. You created this thing called Stand Soft Sugar Brick, right? Stand Soft Sugar Brick has it's a brick for you to be able to purchase. You can be purchased at
what's that?
CVS. The Stand Soft Sugar Brick.
Oh yeah.
So you're able to. You created Stand Soft Sugar Brick, and it took off, right? And Blake approached you, and he said, hey, you know what? I want to put that onto our shelves. And they took it from a small production to a very, very large production that now they're shipping all over the country. And I want to give you credit where credit is due, because you don't take anything from Stand Soft Sugar Bricks. Those sugar bricks, actually, the proceeds go to purchase Apimaye hives for those that are in Hives for Heroes, and you're constantly giving back. Can you share a little bit about Stand Soft Sugar Brick, and then I want to talk to you about your service in the Air Force. I think we have a little freeze in action. I don't know if it's me or Stan. You there, Stan?
Uh-oh.
You good? All right. Yeah. Can you share a little bit about Stand Soft Sugar Brick?
Yeah, real quick. I've made those for several years. I did a lot of research in it, and basically, I was into dry vert sugar, which is it's split down so the bees can consume it more. So what happened is, like, we came up with a formula to where it actually, breaks the sugars down to where the bees can eat it right away, and also the nutrients and other things that we put. And I just did, and my bees were like, I mean, it really changed them, and they never starve. If you take too much honey, and you shouldn't, but if you do, or if they have a real hot, winter and they go through stores, well, they go out and check them 2 or 3 months and they're dead because they starved. Well, if you have one of these dudes on there, it will not starve. And so that's the thing with these. It's just a great product. And, the whole thing of making money, I didn't want to do that. I wanted to give it all to Hives for Heroes. And that's kind of where that is. And it's, people say, well, what's that? It's just a sugar bot. Well, it's more than sugar. It's broken down. It's inverted. That's the difference. The Hive Alive stuff, that's fondant, which that's broken down too. And this is kind of like that, but the stuff I have, we use Complete and a bunch of other, secret recipe stuffs that, it's not just a bunch of thrown into the kitchen sink. It's been researched and documented, over and over again. So, you can use it or you can't, but it's going to a good cause. And good thing is I don't get any money from it, and people don't believe that, but I don't.
Well,
So.
it's great how it actually works, and we always like being extremely transparent. So those dollars go into a fund, right? Yep. So from TBS, it's a beautiful partnership. Hives for Heroes, Texas Friendly Beekeepers, Stand Soft Sugar Bricks, Apame, all in a partnership that allows those dollars to fund for the veteran, right? For the people that are in the organization. So Hives for Heroes doesn't see the dollar. Nobody sees where it goes, but it produces, at Apame Hive. For those, I think there were 10 or 12 given away. 12 last year. And then Korhan came back and then he said, you know what, we're going to give 6 more, which is pretty incredible. Like these partnerships that we work out together, always for the good of the veteran or first responder that's out there, the heroes that are serving. And so we always like being transparent and seeing where these things are coming from. So thank you for doing that. Your knowledge and experience ends up producing hives for people that you might never meet, which is also incredible. Yeah.
Well, I can talk all day, or the Bee Supply can talk all day, but listen to the people, what they say. That's what blows me away. All the reviews and all the, even the Texas Friendly Bee, they'll say that, my hives starved last year, but this year they didn't. And, I know people say, well, you need to feed them, but people forget. And especially new beekeepers, and you don't want to rely on that brick, but I've done a lot of experiments. I've done some experiments where I've taken all the honey away, and I know people are going to hate me for that, but I took all the honey out, no honey, no food, and I put a soft sugar brick just to test and everything. And that spring they came out gangbusters.
That's awesome.
On that. Yeah. So people say, well, it's not healthy. Well, they're booming. The proof is always in the pudding, right? So. That's kind of, I don't suggest that, but it's a good alternative, and it's Hive Alive's good too. I use that lately in like swarms, and if I'm doing removals, I'll put a little that in there, and it works really good. It's it's broken down. It's fondant, and it's funny about it is that Texas people, even the Bee Supply, I forget who it was, but they were saying, well, that's a Yankee thing. We don't do that in Texas, and I said, well, why not?
Why not?
Yeah, so it is for Texas. It's for it's like I said, it's good for your bees. And,
well, I mean, I've known you for years, so it's easy for me to say this, but I always see you experimenting. I mean, there's new tools, there's products, there's probably everything on the market, plus the things that you've created that you've used with the bees and on the hives that you have out there and on a beautiful property. You're able to do those things, and it's cool because it really is innovation to the community.
People say that they have a test yard. All of my hives are a test yard. I have some out yards that I get, I have here's the thing. I have all Apames now. I have no wood boxes, no wood frames, it's and all my clients, or we call them that, but some of them I do for free. Some of them, they pay me a maintenance thing, which is, pretty good too. Cause it costs me to drive my truck, but it's really cool to tell those people, well, I'll do those hives for you if you get Apames. And everyone, they got a lot of coin, so, oh yeah, whatever you need there, but it's really a good model and a good test of that hive capability. There's so many good things about it. It doesn't mean a wood hive is bad, but I know Apame is it's good for me, you know, and that's what I use. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
And of course, it's the Army's birthday, and the soldiers carry on, but you have a service history as well, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, Air Force, Vietnam era veterans. So share with us a little bit about that, because again, this is the connection of the veteran community that you might not know somebody as a veteran. Maybe they don't even talk about it. That's
Right.
okay. But
Yeah.
I know you're willing to share. Will you share a little bit about your experience in the Air Force?
Sure. When I was in high school, uh, when it was really low in the draft. So I'm saying, well, I might want to do the Marines, but I don't know those guys. they
All
might
right,
be
all right.
they might be tougher than me, you know what I mean? Which anyway, so I joined the Air Force, and so I got in, and I was just kind of tooled around. Mainly I wanted to go to Alaska, and so I was able to go there for 10 years, and so I was a fireman. I was a crew chief on a P2 on the flight line. You know, I know it's Vietnam era, but without our support, it's kind of an interesting thing. I know I wasn't in battle, but did you say World War II era? If we
No, World War One. I think you were actually the one that produced the 1919 document.
Really? But anyway, that's kind of the extent of it. It's I learned, and I love being a fireman, and I learned a lot of things, and yeah, so that's kind of where that is. Yeah, I
And
wasn't a I wasn't a pilot or anything, but I would have liked to be.
well, I mean, you're right. Like just in a hive, not everybody's a queen. That's okay. Now, everybody
Yeah,
does their part in order for the success of the hive, and that's why I believe the military structure is so incredible. Right? You have a hierarchy, you have priority of needs,
yeah,
and you work together to accomplish a mission. And whether it's the Marine Corps, or the Army, or any branch of service, you're sitting there going, you can't do your job without support. And that's
that's
what we're for the bees as well. I mean, even Stanislav Sugar Brick and other things, we're there to steward the bees. I love saying that word. They are not my bees. They are God's bees. They are the earth's bees, whatever you want to say. We're there to be able to steward that and
yeah,
produce this amazing product called honey. So I think
yeah.
it's incredible. But I want to say thank you for your service.
Thank you.
We appreciate you, not only then and also now. So that military experience, do you think that translated into beekeeping, or was it just kind of your grandfather's?
I'm growing was my God pretty much was hunting elk with my bow, and fishing, and hunting with my bow, and fishing. And I just love being out in the mountains. I just love it. I love the nature, and I just love how things work in the world. And I think that translated to beekeeping, because if you look at bees, they are truly a wonder of God. I mean, the whole gamut. I mean, look in the Bible, how many times bees are mentioned, how many times honey's mentioned. There's a reason for that. They're good place when they're into bees. It takes them to a higher plane, and it gives them that purpose of, yeah, look at that, look how they're working. You know what it is. It's amazing. And I'm just glad that you came along and kind of supported this thing, because I think it's a good thing, Steve. Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's not everybody can, do all the research and studying. And again, that's why we partnered with the master beekeeping programs and these efforts for education. But again, you are really a practical beekeeper. You're in
Yeah.
your yard, as far as I know, almost every day, right? You probably have rotations in your yards. Do you have some kind of standard that you use for your yards? Because I know, there's other, personal things. We all have family. We all have things that kind of get in the way, not get in the way, that we have prioritized, right? I mean, I know you take care of your father-in-law and things of that nature. These are
Right.
huge things that are such a blessing to be able to do. But do you
Yeah.
have like a protocol with your bees? I mean, I think you
Yeah.
even use frames, right?
Yeah. I use what now? What'd you say?
Seven frame Ibamace.
Yeah. Yeah. I use both sizes, but the thing I use for 7 frames basically is mating nooks now. I have 50 of them out there right now, and and they all have queens in them. And to me, I'm kind of with Ernie Welch on this, is that it's a bank. I don't like buying queens or having to scrounge around if something goes south, and it will. And if I have that reserve there, and also I can, if people say, oh, I can't get a queen or I can't get a hive, and there's no one has any, you know, I can give them one. You know, I just love that aspect of having a savings account in bees. And that 7-frame mate is unbelievable for that. So that's what and I have 10 frames in most of my yards now. I save the 7s for around here and all. But, you know, the thing with my father-in-law real quick is that's kind of a number one priority. He'll be 100 years old this year. World War II veteran. My dad was a World War II and Korean War. My dad was. And so anyway, taking care of him. And I don't know if you've been around 100-year-old, but man, it's not good sometimes, man. It is like, I don't know if I want to be that old, but you know, God has control of that. But he really, man, and that's what I said. We have a place in Houston. My wife works at the church and we have a condo there, but I'm here 85-90% of the time. He has some property and then we have some property away. So this is kind of, I think also God kind of gave me something, you know, when I moved back to Texas, and I was born and raised here, but I left as soon as I could. Because I love mountains and I love the air, you know, all that good stuff. But yeah, I can't remember what I was going to say now. Yeah, my basic job now is to be with him. And I'm away from my wife, but you know, it's one of those things that God calls you to do. And I know I'm here, and I think he's still alive for a reason. And I think he's teaching me things that maybe my dad didn't teach me. You know, my dad, he had some war issues too, and he left when I was like 6 years old. And it just, you know, it's one of those things where I kind of just took the reins myself and made whatever I was. You know, he was a boxer. He taught me how to box, so I can beat up people. But you know, it's like I need these things from a really solid guy. And man, he has taught me so much. He is so close to God, and you know, and just the sacrifice of loving him. And he's thanking me like 20 times a day because he doesn't want to go to a home. So that's one of those things. But so it happened, the bees are here, so I'm here with him. I can do the route. I have, you know, all these yards are on a schedule, and I kind of go, you know, when I have them on a rotation thing. And I just love pulling up. You know, I don't like Houston traffic. So you know, you're out there in the boonies, and you know, it's a beautiful lake out there on some of these properties. Man, these people got money. Let me tell you,
Very nice.
they got coin. Yeah. So anyway, I'm on there, and I just, you know, and all they want is a little bit of honey. You know, that's all they want, a little bit of honey. And so I try to do that, and I'm studying too. I'm doing experiments with them. I'm testing all these queens. I'm getting my queens down to where they're, you know, haven't treated and I don't know how long, and that's good. You know, I know there's a big controversy, and we don't let that go on Texas Friendly. If you don't treat, that's cool. If you treat, that's fine. None of my business. But you know, kind of explain it. As long as you're not killing your bees, you know, that's the thing. If someone has some weird thing on there, you know, we say, hey, better not do that, because you don't have people, you know, hurting their bees. And so, but anyway, that's kind of it.
Yeah, that's I mean, that's similar to Hives for Heroes. You know, we're just looking to serve each other and not judge each other.
Yeah.
Right? If you're keeping something a certain way, I don't pay your bills. I don't know what you do. I don't know the entire situation. So I'm going to keep my nose out of that, but I'll be here for you. Right. And that's what I love about this community. And speaking of Houston traffic, I think Troy and I were in traffic from headquarters, probably an hour and a half, you know, driving maybe 30 miles. Absolutely. It was terrible. All of I-10 shut down with an accident. And I was like, wow. And there's no, you know how Houston is. It's like kind of side roads, but then there are lights. It's terrible. But anyway, I think you unpacked a lot there. And I think the viewers probably enjoy that human side of just our people, right? That we have struggles.
Yeah.
We have struggles in life. We're here together. But there's also a lot of beauty in these struggles when you're talking about being able to serve not only a World War II hero, but your father, that's going to be 100 years old. That's
100
just
years
incredible.
old. Yeah.
That's
just crazy.
So, you know, through all this,
talking about,
go ahead.
Oh, I was just talking about Houston traffic real quick. You know how you think, you know, you kind of got it together, and you like, hey, I'm calming down. I don't go off the deep end too much anymore. And we get in Houston traffic, and the guy, and just like last week, he cut me off. I mean, he came this close to clipping me, killing me, and all of a sudden, in my gut, it came up, and I turned into a sailor. man, I was, I was just like, I mean, and you go, where the heck did that come from? Well, it's down in my flesh. You know what I mean? But, and
So,
it kind of showed me, don't go, don't go to Houston anymore. That's what it showed
oh,
me.
that's
So,
what it told you. It talked to you. It told you
yeah,
not
that's
to go.
what I thought. No, but I have to go see my wife, you know. So, you know, Bev is very special, you know, and our time's coming. You know, I think that's the thing. And I, you know, I don't know about you, but I've been very selfish in my life. You know, I think a lot of people have, and it's kind of like we need to be selflessness instead of selfish. And you know, so we all want this, and I'll do that. You know, I notice that with anything, and like in beekeeping too, I'll kind of do this if you pat me on the back. You know, what's in it for me if I help you? I don't like that, man. I just like, what can I do, and don't pay me back. You know,
Well, there's also,
Jesus knows that stuff, man.
these words too, they matter, right? Selfishness, not a great thing.
Yeah,
Self-interest is something that
yeah,
is different. And there's a difference in these words that you're looking at. Okay, self-interest is something, how am I going to take care of myself, keep myself healthy, keep my family healthy, and things of that nature. Selfishness
yeah,
goes way to the core. Like that's something that you
yeah.
got to try to overcome for sure.
Exactly. You know what?
Man,
When I think of being healthy and all I have to do is watch Brent for a while. You know what I mean?
I'm just going to do what he
he's
does.
he's he's kind of I'm kind of living through him. You know what I mean? He's so dang healthy, isn't he? Oh my
Oh man, and
gosh.
he's helped a ton of people get on a right track. Even some of our other board members and things on very personal levels. And those are things that
Yeah,
are like he says, get outside. This is what we get to do, right? Get outside,
that's
breathe
it.
fresh
Yeah,
air,
yeah,
get off the couch. You know those types of
yeah.
things that allows us in beekeeping. But I didn't realize that you and Dirt Rooster were so in common with beating people up. I mean, that's a new one for me. I didn't realize that from you.
He was a, he
Dirt,
was a he was a bouncer too, wasn't he?
yeah, he's and
Was he a bouncer?
he's a
Yeah,
pretty big boy
yeah.
and a record
I,
driver.
I, oh, really?
Oh
Ooh,
yeah,
cool. Yeah.
go back and
Well,
share
you
that
know the
that
thing is,
YouTube.
yeah, I'm not a big, huge kind of guy, but you know, that's the ones. Seriously, some of the toughest ones that I've known. They're like little guys,
Little guys,
but they're
little guys.
fast. You know,
Yeah.
where the big guy comes there, I'm gonna beat you up. You know, and then bam. You know?
No, Dirt Rooster's awesome. If y'all want to check out Dirt Roosters, it's on the page, on the YouTube page, and he's got a great conversation back and forth, some of his history and the things that
Yeah.
go back there. But so, how was beekeeping for
Yeah.
you, grown you personally? And then now that you have this community, right, you were able to grow this community really on word of mouth and word of internet, I guess you could say. But how has beekeeping been a
Right.
tool for your personal growth and the community in which you're involved?
Well, I think, like you said, that you know, having 13,000 people, most of them are friends. You know, they have to abide by the rules or they get booted off. But you know, and just the teaching ability of that. You know, I make a lot of posts and all, but as I'm doing that, I'm doing it for others, but I'm doing it for me. When I learn something, I want people to see that, and it's not that I come up with a few things, but not a lot of things. I mean, a lot of beekeepers, you know as well as anybody, they're parrots. You know,
Yeah,
they read it here. Or I think I said that. You know, and so doing it, I love the research. I love those guys, but some of those things, do it yourself and see if it works. Because some of them is not always true there. But the whole thing of educating, you know, three things we do is educating. Number one, equipping and encouraging. And if you keep those focused like that, it's amazing how that can build you up in the learning more how to do bees better, and also having a friendship. To me, I relate it to like, were you ever into? Did you ever go to Sturgis and Harley's and all that? Did you ever get
I've
into
heard a
that?
lot about it, but I've never been.
With well, I kind of relate that to beekeepers. You know, you go to the bee expo. It's like going to, you know, it's like going to Sturgis. It's all the Harley people. Well, these are all the bee people, and they have this thing in common. It's like you're automatically your friend almost. You know, and it's and also you see like the superstar guys on YouTube. You know, they're just guys, and you know, there's a couple of them that are really really smart, and you know, they talk way over your head. And I make a wide circle around them usually. but but
You're in the
you
Air
know,
Force. You
just
got
like with Mike Bear. But you know, there's so many, you know, Yappy and just all these guys that are just, you know, they're real people. And if you've noticed them, most of them are pretty honorable people, a lot of integrity, you know. and there's always some shysters out there, but usually if you go into beekeeping in the community and you're a no-gooder, I mean, people see it real quick, don't they? I mean,
Oh
people
yeah.
are kind of looking out for people, and all
And
these
sometimes
scams
they
on the
don't even
dang
say anything.
they're
Sometimes they don't even say anything.
unbelievable.
They just watch you, and they watch you a long time,
Yeah.
and it's like, there it comes. Because it's not for, I mean, for me, it's not for me to call anybody out. Who the heck am I to call anybody out, right? It's our job is to
Right,
call people
right.
up, right? We know our
Yeah.
we know our friends, we know our people, and if they're acting in a different manner, and I would expect the same for me, is if I'm acting in a way that's unhonorable or lacking integrity, I would expect to be called up to, right? Like, hey, you're better than that.
Absolutely.
You know better than that, but
Yeah.
the finger in the chest isn't something that I'm comfortable with. But you approach me in a great, nice manner, as I believe, if not all, most of the people in the organizations do. Is, man, it's just good to be seen and know that somebody
Yeah.
cares, because they're calling you up because they care.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what kind of
Exactly.
advice?
And
I mean,
also,
go ahead.
go ahead. No, I'm
I
listening.
was going to say, what kind of advice would you give to these new beekeepers? You've seen tons. You've been able to respond to a lot of things. What kind of advice would you give to two categories: new beekeepers and beekeepers that have been around for a long time?
Well, the new beekeepers, I kind of have a thing set up, and I've tried all these things through the years, so I kind of share what I've gone through and what kind of didn't work. It's some of them still work, but they're not as good. And so my main word is simplicity. Keep things simple. And so I've gotten down to, Steve. Really, I've gotten down to like one bee suit. No one has to do this. This is what I do. One bee suit, Ultra Breeze. I just love it. I'm into a lot of mean bees, and it's done the job for me. So that's what I use. I got one bee suit. I have one hive tool. It's I don't know if you've seen this. It's called a Gero Slammer, and I
Oh yeah.
used to have a J hook, but this thing is built like a hoss. It's twice as thick as a J hook. When you're lifting those honey frames out, sometimes it bends. You
Yep.
ain't bending this bad. Well, this is a marine hive tool right here.
Marine proof right there.
Anyway, so I got that. I got one smoker. I got one hive. It's all I use. 10 frame Apamase for the regular yards, and then I only use one frame. It's a Cerasil frame. It's the best frame made. I just love it. And then one hive stand I have a setup, and then I do single brood chambers, which I keep. I'm kind of a small hive beekeeper. I'm kind of follow. Oh shoot. What's his name?
Ian
What's the
Stepler up
one
in
that
Canada.
did the Seeley? Tom Seeley. Tom
Oh,
Seeley.
Tom
I kind
Seeley.
of
Yep.
follow his. I kind of listen to him a little bit. Yeah, and so he has a thing with small hive. And so as far as making honey, I make a couple thousand pounds a year. That's all I really need or want to make. And so I run single brood chambers, and I can get 80 pounds of in a single brood chamber with a queen excluder, and everything's in the bottom. I don't run all these. These guys that run all these
Yeah.
boxes 10 feet high. I don't do that. They like it. Go for it. I ain't doing that. I like one box because, see, when I get there, anyway, so I got, what is it? In the one small hive beetle trap, it's the one on Apamay. It's a sliding thing. Just fill it full of DE, and I keep it fresh every couple of weeks. Wax moss, when if you have a dead out or something, Sertan, you mix it 1 to 19, and you spray that on there, and just leave it out. You can leave it underneath an awning, but let the air flow through it. But that stuff, the moss will not get on it. But if you seal it up, though, keep it moist. They can. And the sugar water mix, I don't do 2 to 1, 3 to 1. I do 1.5 to 1, and that's kind of more of a Bob Benny ratio, because it really gets them to build comb better. And a couple of things, inspection. How I went through little logs, little apps on the phone. Nothing worked right for me, so I just did I've got where'd it go? Gorilla Tape. This is I can buy this by the case, man. I love this stuff. So, but it's like heavy duty, man. It's like a Marine. A Marine would use this. It's so cool. Anyway, I flip my lid, and I tape the long thing on the underneath there, and then I do a martial lot, and then I'll just put that on there. That way I know exactly when I lift that lid, the feeders are on top so that bees don't come out. I can see, oh, I did this last time. Oh, that's in there. And it just helped me. And then one other thing, I don't have one. Marking pins, you have the felt, what's it called? The marker, the black.
Yeah, the pins that you shake and the paint comes.
Sharpie. Okay, it's called a garden pin. It does it in wet. If it gets wet, you can still use it. Whereas a Sharpie, you get the little foam, it just smears. But it's a garden pin. As simple as that. It just makes my day.
I think people are going to go back and watch this because you didn't go through it too quick because this is what you do, right?
Yeah.
So basically, the thing is KISS, right? Keep it simple, stupid. That's really good stuff that we learned military-esque. But now you're talking, one frame, one hive box, one of one of one of one of one. So that brings consistency to your yard, and that's how you do things. That's not how everybody has to do it. But
Right.
That's how you do it, and it works for you.
Well, like Bruce Ginn, that dude, man, he makes some honey. I don't know how many, like 8,000 or 10,000 gallons of honey, I think it was, or pounds or something. But anyway, he does, double deep and all that, but that's what he does. But man, have you ever seen him after? Hi, Bruce. You probably might be saying hi, but anyway, you see how tired he looks after the honey season.
Oh man, he's such a great guy. Another
I tell you, he is so good for beekeeping. All those guys are, and it's a real blessing to be a part of that gang, And
absolutely. So many great people in this community.
I wanted to share something real quick.
Go ahead.
This is something that's really hit me when Randy Oliver, and I don't really follow Randy a whole lot. I know he does a lot of testing and all, but pretty smart guy. But simplicity wise, he says, what do you need? This is what I share this with new beekeepers when I train them. You need a warm, dry cavity. You need food. You need controlled parasites, and you have to have great queens. That's it. Nothing else. Yeah, that's it. Zippo. And he goes. Anything else someone tells you is a reflection of their own ideology or belief system. The louder and stronger emotions on something you should do, turn down the volume. Anybody that really knows beekeeping has no strong opinions whatsoever.
That's great.
And then he goes, experience bee, and I wrote him and talked to him. There he goes, beekeepers realize there are many ways to keep bees. So don't waste your time trying to convince anyone that there is one best way. Isn't that cool?
That's wonderful. He's a great guy too. He talks all over the country and is highly sought after. We got to spend a lot of time together, and we were in Nevada, and just really, really good dude. I have a question for you about, and that's mentorship right there. And this is leading into mentorship. We need more mentors in this organization. I'm going to push a plug for Charlie big time right now. If you have been in the organization as a newbie or whatever for 2 or more years, reach out to Charlie. We need more mentors in this organization. We want to elevate you and escalate you. You're not just here as a newbie for life. You start transitioning into that mentor role and start serving somebody else. And if you're on this call and you're not a mentor in the organization, we ask you to please think about that. Please think about being a mentor in Hives for Heroes. So those are 2 things. If you're on here and you're not a part of it, you should be. And the second part is you've been in it for a while, become a mentor. We need that all throughout the country. So the question is, what role has mentorship played for you, right? You get a ton of mentorship as well.
Right. Yeah. What I love about it is that they're thirsty. They're just, you get them like that. It's like someone that plays guitar and has played guitar for 6-7 years. Are you a musician? Do you play?
I'm a vocal. I don't do the guitar. I can't read.
But anyway, they've kind of learned how to play, for 5, 6, 10 years. But then you try to teach them and they can't break that dang habit, of what they should unlearn. But anyway, a new beekeeper like that, green, I love them like that. And then getting them to kind of show, my mistakes. I like boasting in my weaknesses, what I tried, what worked and what didn't work. And then show them options, double deeps or whatever you want to do, but try different things. If you don't want to do apame, you want to do wood, that's fine. Maybe one of each. That's what I tell people. Try one of each. And you pick one that you like, just like with double deeps or single deeps, have a double deep here and a single deep here. Try them both. See what you like, and then stick with it. You know.
And
But
top bar lawyer would say get a top
yeah,
bar and a long lang.
yeah,
Like try these things out and see
yeah,
what you like because you could not like beekeeping because it's heavy, for example. And
yeah,
you go,
yeah.
I can't beekeep. Yes, you can.
Yes, you
There's
can.
options for
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Look open to that and see, hey, if it's a top bar that you like and that's really comfortable for you, or a long lang, some of our disabled guys are in wheelchairs and things of that nature, and you only lift one frame. You're lifting one frame at an even level, right? And especially like understand what you want in beekeeping. Is that honey production? Is that selling nukes? Is it just having a hive in your backyard? What do you want out of beekeeping? So listen to everybody, but make your own choices in that.
yeah.
I fully agree with that.
You just develop your own style. You know, Ernie Welch talks a lot of that. He just, you get your all advice and you try it all, and then you kind of fine tune what you do. And even Mike Berry says that, right? This is it's not a how to, it's how I do. And
Absolutely.
yeah, and so, and I gave Mike one of these here.
You do me, I'll do you.
It's kind of similar to his, but he
It's
hadn't
true.
sued me yet or anything, so I think we're okay. But it's
No,
true.
that's-
It's true. Just kind of and encourage everyone. You know, it's amazing. Kindness is unbelievable. You know, and they'll say, well, sometimes when I have to kick people off, they think I'm mean, and sometimes I get pretty close. You know, I'm kind of I'm kind of a wannabe comedian. You know, and so so I'll try to do comedy in there, and all of a sudden, oh my gosh, that's mean. You shouldn't say that. Like doing something with Latin people or whatever. Like, a guy got on me for doing Speedy Gonzalez. He said
I
I was.
love it. I
He,
grew up with Speedy
he
Gonzalez.
said I was a racist.
I don't agree with that. And I love Speedy Gonzalez. I grew up watching that and it was pretty incredible. So my last question for you,
Okay.
my last full question for you.
Okay.
What excites you most about the future of beekeeping?
Man, that's a good one. I just think with this loss that we had, I think we're learning from that, and I'm an advocate for Corey Stevens and all those guys. I mean, this whole thing of treatment free. It's I know it's in some circles it's like no, you have to treat other. Here's the thing I don't understand, Steve, is that you've got these guys. Corey 12 years, and I know Ernie. I don't think he's ever treated, and I know Wes and all those guys. That's 8 to 10 years, and they haven't treated one time. If it's true that if you don't treat your bees die, why aren't they dead? You
Yeah.
know, because they breed from survivors, and I think it's a possibility. It's getting more and more. They're discovering more things. Corey's the one. I listen to him like E.F. Hutton. Because he's done these things, and that's his goal. That's where he gets his whole joy in life is getting that queen. And they're never going to be a perfect queen, but that excites me. That really does, knowing that we can come to a point in the whole thing with mean bees and tame bees. Isn't that an interesting
Yeah,
topic?
that's a whole nother conversation. Wow.
It's a whole other conversation. And why is that? I had one. Oh, it was a swarm. I had a swarm like a couple of weeks ago, right? Okay, and I've caught about I don't know 10 or so this year, not many, but so I get this swarm and I see they're coming in and out. So I go over there and I pull up to get it, right, and these bees are on, and I haven't even opened the box yet, and these bees are on my face, and I can't even see my hands, and they're just got their butts clinging, just they're trying to kill me. And I'm going, oh my gosh. But then this is like 2 or 3 weeks they've been in there because I didn't check them or whatever. So I pick it up, and it's full of honey. It's full of brood. I had to add another, so I moved it to another location in Timbuktu, and I said, okay, mean lady, you can have your way, and here's an extra box, just fill. And I in a really good area that had a lot of horse mint. So anyway, I said, you're on your own. I'm coming back in 6 weeks, and I'm getting most of your honey, and then I'm going to kill you. you know.
Angry,
So,
angry,
so, so
angry.
I feel like I'm using them a little bit, but I don't. A lot of people want to requeen right now. And right now, I don't like messing. That's one of the techniques too. Is I don't like messing them too with, especially during the honey flow. You know, I want them to get as many bees as they can. And single brood chamber is a different animal. You know, you got to be in there every 7 days. You got to make sure there's room for the queen to lay. And so that takes time. A lot of people, oh, I'm only at my farm every month. Well, you don't want to be single
Yeah,
brood
I don't want to do that. Yeah.
but it's an option, and people like that. They, you know, to me, if you keep a hive small but producing, that's where I want to be. You know, less chance of mites and all this stuff. You know, that's what the research shows. You know, so
And that's what you're doing. You've been doing it for a long time, and
yeah,
you're,
yeah.
maybe that's getting gored. Who knows? So right now it is time for our giveaway. Please type into the chat right there. Go Army! Again, happy birthday, Army! Of course, we love our brothers and sisters. Yes, we will always give you a hard time. So drop that into the comments section right now to win one of the two $100 gift cards. And don't forget the store's offering that 20% discount throughout the Army birthday month. Just use that code MIL250 for their 250th birthday. I think Troy put in MIL and didn't put Army in there for a reason, but we are not going to hold it against him. All right. So use that code MIL250 at checkout. And so now we do this. We just started this, and I think it's pretty fun. Neil's going to go ahead and take care of that Go Army stuff right there. You know, we've learned some about your journey, man. You've obviously served in a lot of different capacities, and you continue to serve, and I don't see that stopping anytime soon. So thank you for being able to share this. So I want to have a little bit of fun with you on a speed round. This is new to our Connect and Serve. So just your quick thoughts on some questions as we get this taken care of so we can give these gift cards away. What is your favorite bee-related memory?
Oh, I think with queens coming back mated, that floors me. It's such a, you know, I want to do the happy dance. You know, you wait 21 days, you get in there and there's eggs everywhere. I love that. I love that part of it. Yeah.
That's pretty darn cool. So one word for you to describe beekeeping.
One word. Glory.
Ooh, that's a good one. Glory. All right. The best advice you've ever received.
Best advice. It'd probably be from either Wes or Ernie. Oh, you know what? A really good one is Wes taught me, I think a couple of years ago. But like when you're putting a queen in places, you ever had them when you start to put the queen in and she flies off?
Yep.
Yeah. Well, he and I don't know if he invented it, but I probably did. But I get the sugar water bottle, and you drench that sucker like, you know, you're saying you're gonna drown her. No. You drench her, and then you just open it up, and she kind of walks out like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and she will not fly. You'll never lose a queen again.
Oh,
And
wow.
I've lost several before that. I think that's, you know, it's a little advice, but it's really, I always keep a water bottle and you know, handy, but I love that advice. And that's
You know what? I love another advice that you give. You're not going to give it today, but Troy uses it as well. But the gun magnet in your pocket.
Yes.
For your hive tool. So it goes, you know, right onto the pocket. Man, if you lose it from there, you're doing something real wrong.
Yeah. You know, that magnet thing, you know, it's a gun magnet. I mean, it's like $30, and it's, you know, it's not big, but it fits in your pocket. And then you put a Texas Friendly patch on there so it won't wear the suit off. But like you said, I tell people, you know, and I've lost hundreds. As a matter of fact, I think there's probably over 100 hive tools in my yard somewhere. But I tell them it came down to simplicity, right? It's the hive tool has two homes. It's in my hand or it's snapped on that magnet. No other homes. It's nowhere else. It can't go on the bench or on the thing. And anyway, that's good stuff too.
What's the first thing you do after inspecting a hive?
What do you mean after?
Yep.
First thing after. Go get some water.
It's hot out here. It is hot out here. Land 90 feels like 100, 100 feels like 110. What's your favorite honey recipe? And that does not include, you know, anything with stand soft sugar bricks. I know there's no honey in there, but what's your favorite honey recipe?
Like raw honey?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I don't do a whole lot of the infused honeys, but I kind of like the cinnamon's pretty good. But you know, at church on Sunday, a lady, you know, people buy me honey because I'm a beekeeper, where they go to England or Spain or whatever. And they brought me back this little jar of honey, right? And it's infused with garlic.
Mm.
And I mean, you open it up, you're not gonna cruise chicks or anything with it, but it'll knock your socks off. But what about like on a steak or something?
Oh,
Don't you
yeah.
think that'd be good?
I love garlic. You're not going to be able to give me enough garlic. I can tell you that. Hey, remind me that one of your go-to hive tool. I think what people want to hear that. What was that one called again?
Yeah, it's called the. Hold on, let me get the name for you. It's Gero, and you get them on. It's on Daydant, okay, and it's called the Gero Turbo.
Giro Turbo.
Yeah, and what I do, real quick, if I can show you this, it's too long for me, and I don't like the J hook. I get a saw thing, and I just saw that in half. I saw it at the very end there. I can't
Okay.
see.
Awesome. And then
I saw that off right there, and just kind of buff it out so it won't cut you and all. But I'm not kidding you, man. It will lift a Volkswagen. This thing is strong. Try one. You'll like it.
And then the last question for you tonight. One thing you wish more people knew about bees.
Oh, man. Bee biology. Just kind of watching them. I think the thing that with me, and you'll talk to any bee remover, I do a lot of forced abscons, from trees and all that. And I have learned so much because instead of listening to people, you listen to people, but I tell you, I listen to bees more than I do people. See how they work in a tree. It's given me some things that I would have never got if I didn't do that. So, and I love showing people how to do that because that's another highlight in beekeeping is when you're getting that tree. The one I did last week took 3.5 hours to get the queen to come out. It's a whole technique of smoking the bottom, the top, and then you take a lot of breaks. Anyway, then when you see that queen come out, you can hear the hallelujah chorus, man. It's like so cool.
And the owners are happy too. I'll tell you that. That's always a big deal.
Yeah, because I always say, if you don't come home till you get the queen, because you'll see a lot of people do removals and swarms, and they never mention the queen. And I always, probably a pain in the butt on it, but I say, well, what does the queen look like? Well, I'm pretty sure she's in there.
You'll be back. You'll be back. And hopefully you'll be back as well, Stan. Thank you so much for today. Stan, the man Gore from Texas Friendly Beekeepers, Stan Soft Sugar Brick, and all around really good dude. And I appreciate your friendship. Thank you so much for being a part of this journey with us. And thank you for sharing your knowledge and experience with all these beekeepers on Connected Serve. Thanks a lot, brother. Appreciate you.
Well, thanks for being my friend.
Absolutely.
God bless. Bye-bye.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining tonight. We have two big winners, Brad Chappell and Diane Hale. Brad Chappell and Diane Hale. Please email support@hivesforheroes.org and let Sherelle know that you won. Say hi to Sherelle too, Air Force veteran, beekeeper out of Roanoke, Virginia. She does an awesome job here at Hives for Heroes because people step up and they step into their spiritual gifts and their unique abilities, and they do awesome. As Matt just said, everyone, please go like the page, share the page with a friend, share a story. Go scroll through that thing, find a story you like, and share it to your network. We really, really appreciate that. Again, you never know who you're going to touch with the amount of effort that everybody in this organization provides, but most importantly, connecting with somebody in your local area. So Brad Chappell and Diane Hale, congratulations. You are the winners today. And thank you so much for joining us tonight. Your support and effort means everything to us and those you serve in your communities. Remember, small actions make a huge difference. Just like the bees who work tirelessly for the hive, we will be there for each other. Keep showing up, keep serving, and keep spreading the word about Hives for Heroes. You truly are making a difference. Next month, we'll be joined by Jay Cox from the Beekeeping for Beginners program. You will not want to miss it. This is a really good one, especially for the new beekeepers, and he has a program that's tailored specifically for you. Thank you again to all our military and, of course, the United States Army. I can't thank you enough, and to all the heroes here for the continued service that you are doing right here, right now. Until then, please stay connected and engage with us on social media at Hives for Heroes. I know Kate will enjoy that for sure. So join the Hives for Heroes Hangout as well on Zoom every Thursday from 6 to 8 p.m. Central Time. And remember, your commitment to service truly does change lives. Thanks again for being here. See you next time.